Hey there. How you doing? You okay? Looked like you got a little excited there. You'll be okay. Just take a few breaths. Breathe in, breathe out, and you'll calm down. And once you do, the tunnel vision will go away. So, we hear sometimes about tunnel vision, right? And that's when you can't see or perceive things outside of a very narrow view, right? You hear people talk about tunnel vision, and they'll express it as an actual narrowing of focus and attention to where they become oblivious to things outside of that. And believe it or not, it's actually a real thing. So there's not just psychology, but it's physiology. There's physiology behind getting tunnel vision. When you end up in a stressed, hyper-stressed state, it can happen. So when you become really, really anxious, stressed, like if you're in a fight, you're hyper-aggressive, you're berserking, if you just choose, I want to rage. So what happens when you enter a state of hyper stress? A state where your life is under threat. Basically, fight or flight. So what happens is it's instinctual. It's a survival mechanism. Your attention does narrow, and that's because during fight or flight, when you're deep into it, you're genetically engineered over millions of years of evolution to focus in a hyper format on A, what's coming at you, what you have to fight, or B, the path you need to escape. Nothing else matters except for making it through those trees and escaping that saber-toothed tiger or something. So everything gets cut off and cut out, and your central processing and central vision becomes basically all you can perceive. So it's a real thing, right? Tunnel vision happens. And it happens because your blood pressure and your heart rate shoot really, really high. And then under that state of stress, your mind starts shutting off anything it doesn't need to absolutely survive in that instant. So there's two different types of cells that process vision inside your eyes, cones and rods. You take the biology, you know that, right? So your central vision uses one type, and it processes data there. And then your peripherals are, taking the scenery outside of what you're directly focused on. So what the brain does is it actually starts to deprioritize that, your peripheral vision. And with blood flow and with mental processing, it starts shutting down everything outside this narrow tube. So if you find yourself in a fight and you can't remember anything outside of just what you were looking at, you probably were in a state of relative tunnel vision, right? So everything gets focused on just the very center. As a fighter, you may think this is great, right? But actually, there's so many massive disadvantages to it. You won't be able to pay attention to other opponents, secondary influences, people coming from the flank, shots coming from outside your central narrow view, changes in the environment. So getting tunnel vision is really a huge detriment. And so that's why an adept fighter tries their best to stay absolutely calm in the most stressful situations. If you take two combatants of equal skill, equal abilities, right? Same intellectual, same training, same physicality, and you put one in a hyper-stressed state, and you put one in an ultra-calm controlled state, the one in an ultra-calm controlled state is most likely going to win. They're going to use less energy, and they're going to be more aware of what's going on in a fight. So it's not just your vision that gets screwed up whenever get tunnel vision, when you get hyper stressed. Tunnel vision also relates to auditory, to your hearing. If you've ever been like in a group fight, in one of the large group fights in Buchert or in an SCA war, you're standing there, you're fighting next to guys, and you're like telling somebody to go do something, and they don't listen. You're yelling at somebody to do something, or to watch their flank, or to attack this guy, and they just stand there, or they just completely ignore you, like they don't hear you, right? Well, they probably don't. They probably don't hear you at all, because on top of shutting down your peripheral vision processing, it also starts to ignore your auditory. So sometimes when you have to walk up and hit somebody on the shoulder and they act like they didn't even hear you, they didn't, because they were so into it, so intense, so narrowed in their focus, that too stressed, that they can't see outside of that narrow cone, and they don't hear anything going on too, which again, in group fights or just for your own sake, not being able to hear the things around you as well can get you killed, right? So what you want to do is, as a goal, as a fighter, and you'll see this amongst the best of the best in whatever, they're normally, even under the worst circumstances, the highest stress situations, they're just super calm, right? And they perform at a much higher level than all the guys who think that getting angry, getting stressed out, getting more intense is going to benefit. And it doesn't, right? You actually become way more narrow and way less, capable of responding to the changes going on around you. So point being is, when you train, start working on trying to calm yourself down, especially in the middle of stressful times. Catch yourself, withdraw from it, stress-wise, kind of calm yourself down, even in the middle of a fight, and then suddenly you'll realize that the rest of the field appears, opportunities start to present themselves, and you become a much more reactive, much more perceptive, and much more capable fighter. So don't hype yourself up. Don't get all intense and with either aggression or fear. Try to stay calm, and you'll find that your fighting starts to improve massively over time. So that's what I got to say about tunnel vision, and I'll see you in the next video.